Yeah, so you remember a week or two ago when I died on turn 2 to some mice in Legacy? Yeah, now we're going to be on the other side of that, so it should hopefully be even more fun. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today we've got a fun one. Now, Riley donated to have me reverse engineer the mice deck that killed me, where someone just went absolutely wild with Invigorate and Berserk. And Leyline of Resonance of all things. And luckily, I just got a full deck list from MTGO user Punishing Waterfalls, who I think put up a 5-0 league with this exact deck list that you are seeing here. I don't really know where to start, so let's start with the leyline. So, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that only targets a single creature you control, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. And this pairs very, very well with Berserk. So you are going to double your power and then trigger the Leyline of Resonance and double your power again. If you combine that with any other pump spell, it is going to get wild very quickly. And some of the creatures in this deck are going to have prowess, so that whenever you cast literally anything, you are going to scale them up. Note that you can have multiple ley lines in play at the same time, and then get a ton of additional copies of the various pump spells that you are playing. We have some very, very low to the ground creatures here, like Cacophony Scamp. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, proliferate. More importantly, when this creature dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So with this creature, you can attack, get in there, do your combat damage, and then sacrifice it, which is kind of like another way to double its power again. And I don't know, if you have some absolutely massive pump spell and a card that pairs with it like Progenitus, this means that you can do some absolutely disgusting things where you go and target creature gets plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is the mana cost of the value that you're playing here. So this could be plus 10 by exiling a Progenitus, meaning if you do that on Cacophony Scamp, you hit for 11, you sacrifice this, and that deals another 11 directly. So that is just a turn 2 kill. Sick. Now, we also have the similar Heartfire hero. It has Valiant. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And when this creature dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. And we can kill our own creatures with Berserk. So with something like Heartfire hero, we want to get in, deal a bunch of combat damage, and with our Berserk, we are going to sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step, and then trigger the Heartfire hero. We will have some limited ability to protect our combo turns, but we are very, very much an aggro deck here. As far as the main deck goes, there's no lightning bolts or anything like that. Everything that we are doing is just pumping up the team. And as far as the sideboard goes, we are really, really tight on mana. Like, this is a 14 land deck. We are expecting to have exactly 1 land in most opening hands. And so we don't have mana to cast spells for the most part. And most of our sideboard are cards that we can cast for free in some capacity. So with that being said, buckle up. This should be a really fun one. Folks, if you need any Magic cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, toamagic.com. They're great. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. If you are going to go to a major event in the US, like a Magic Con, you can probably place your order online and pick it up on site and skip the hassle of trying to wander around the dealer's hall, figuring out where on earth you can find your copy of Heartfire Hero before your event. All right, let's battle. Okay, we are on the draw here. I have 3 different threats and lands to cast them, but I have no real pump spells here. And Blazing Shoal is not exactly great if you are just pitching a 1-drop to it. So I think I will mulligan this one. This has the same problem as the last hand, right? this is entirely just creatures and no way to pump them. Even if I hit my land drop here, I don't think I like this one. I think I'm going to go to 5. Is there a Dryad Arbor in this deck? There is not a Dryad Arbor in this deck. Uh-oh. Am I at the point where I am trying to draw a creature? So 4, 8, 12, 13, 14 different creatures to hit plus Once Upon a Time. I think on 5, I am at the point of taking some risks. We may not play Magic at all this game. Thoughtseize will rip a hole in this hand in some capacity. I think the Blazing Shoal is the best card in my hand. Opponent disagrees and takes Berserk. Oh, hell yeah. Hello? One dude, please. Yes, okay. So between these two, which is better? When it dies, damage equal to power to any target to each opponent. Those are roughly the same. I don't care about the proliferating. So I guess this one gets a +1/+1 counter. So I will take this one. Oh wait, no, I wanted to be able to sacrifice it for Blazing Shoal. Fuck. I wanted the other one. Well, c'est la vie. Goodbye, Blazing Shoal. Oh, we might be playing against Smallpox. Send in for 1. 15. I guess the next question is there a Surveil land in this mana base? There is. Wasteland is fine. All in all, just hate this. We will grab Commercial District. Do not want that land. Active Negation is not good right now. I'm going to send in for 1. We could eat an Orcish Bowmasters or something here. Dark Ritual. Crucible of Worlds. Crucible Wasteland is online. Crucible Wasteland and Hatchery is online, notably. Man, I win the game here if I pick the other one of these. Oops. Wait, I still just basically win the game now, right? Blazing Shoal, trigger, get the counter. There's 12 of the 14 damage, and now my opponent can't ever kill this creature or they die. So I think that wins the game anyway. You may have your Wasteland back. Nice. Okay, so I obviously messed up in not taking the Scamp there. We did not get punished all that badly for it. I don't really know that I'm going to sideboard much here. We're going to be looking for a repeat of what we just did. I could adjust the numbers on like Pact of Negation and Legolas's quick reflexes. I'm not sure that I am going to do that. I think I'm just going to whack the submit button and see what happens. So this is an okay hand. It has 3 different threats. I don't have anything to fuel them with. I think I mulligan this. This one I think I like. I'm going to keep this and I think not keep Pact of Negation. I will put in my Leyline. Black mana into Thoughtseize. I think the best card in my hand is Berserk, because Berserk is going to be copied. I've lost the Scamp instead. I imagine this kills next turn, if everything goes my way, because I get to double this up, and then double this up, and a Valiant trigger in the middle there. I have a Bayou now. Or not a Bayou, a Badlands. Goldred's Edict, you got it. Take 1. 17. Another creature off the top? Negative. So now we might kind of fart around for a little while until I draw another threat. I don't have cantrips here. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. I could have potentially held that land. Active Negation is fine. I don't love that, but it's happening. Those were the 2 good ones. I've cast a spell, so Once Upon a Time is not free. I guess if I hold my land, there is a chance that Hymn to Turok gets it. Factory is a potential threat. Do I just wait on playing that? I don't think so. Because when I hit my next land drop, I would like to cast Once Upon a Time. Opponent is up to 5 mana. They are holding back this factory, though, and they are not just tapping this to potentially work towards creating a bunch of, what are they, insects? Insects later. Reflexes. Not currently attacking in effectively through the 3/3. I'll pass the turn here. Just another land drop from my opponent. So now I can Monstrous Rage twice. I think I wait until I can play 1 more spell. Maybe that's not actually true. My opponent has 1 card in hand. I will let the factory block, and I will Monstrous Rage, go up to a 3 toughness creature here. Yeah. Then Leyline, copy, same target. I will get my roll token, become a 5/4, and then a 7/4. This does trample, and I will be left with a creature that has a monstrous roll token. So I still have a 2/3 base here, and I got rid of my opponent's land while dealing a respectable chunk of damage. I am not casting these spells anyway. That is a-okay with me. That is a shock to your face. I lose my reflexes. That's fine later. Send in. Opponent's at 9. I'm not doing a lot, but neither is my opponent. I don't love that. I'm not going to lie to you. I do not love that. My hand is full of clunkers. I'll pass the turn here. Honestly, the hope is just that I kill my opponent from 13. The Leyline should be pretty good at accomplishing that. No hits on the Goyf. Opponent passes the turn. That is another Swift Spear. I will remain the beat down here. Opponent is at 10. Oh, we are ticking up the hatchery now. Opponent might feel safer now that they have this lifelinker in play. Ooh, it's another hatchery. I will take 4 more. Alright, Orcish Bowmaster's getting in the mix now. My opponent wants to cast that. They should probably do it on their own turn, so that I can't Pact of Negation it. I cannot cast this for free because I do not control a forest. So I guess I am just passing the turn here. I am hoping to draw a land, specifically a forest, and then I can do something like cast Once Upon a Time, trigger Prowess, get a land, play a land, cast Invigorate, do that twice, cast Pact of Negation on my Invigorate, and then Pact of Negation on my Pact of Negation. I will just keep taking 5, that's fine. 7. Karn? Yeah, it was Karn. This is now a 6/7. That is another Invigorate. We are relatively close to glory, but we are not quite there. I know that my opponent has Bowmasters, which means that I do need to block this turn. And this attacks. Now this thing does have trample. Land. Fuck. Just for giggles, would this have killed? This would be 8, 16, prowess 17, 18, 19, maybe 20, 21, 22. Probably not. Actually, I guess I can just play a Swift Spear and block again and go for 1 redraw. It's just getting harder to kill as my opponent's life total is ticking up. I'm very good at dealing 20 damage. Alright, so opponent is going to wasteland their own hatchery now for some extra blockers and attackers, which is reasonable. Opponent's at 29, which is gross. Hogak? Yes, it is Hogak. That is a Progenitus. That is not gonna do it for me. We made it till turn 14, but this was insurmountable. So I could do something like Quick Reflexes over some number of Pact of Negations. I could do something like play Leyline of the Void. I think I'm going to make this swap to be slightly better at getting some things like Death Touchers out of the way. This is very, very close to a protected turn 2 kill. I'm going to keep this. Leyline into play, and Surveil land. That is the land that I need. So if I don't get Thought Seized on turn 1, I will win on turn 2 with Pact of Negation backup. Alright, we will punt things off for another turn. Arid Mesa, and pass. Now I need a land or a 1-drop creature. Either one is fine. And I'm just going to confirm I have 1 Surveil land. I do have 1 Surveil land. I do not want to fetch here. I do not want to cast that card. I have no targets for it. Land drop 2, we're chilling. Alright, here we go. Fetch a Taiga. This has haste, so I will go ahead, just regular cast this. Here we go. Opponent will need something like 2 Fatal Pushes. Send it. No blocks. Blazing Shoal. Target you. Pitching Progenitus. Trigger. So, Pseudo Prowess trigger. That is 20 additional power. 23. Show me your removal spell, and I will show you a Pact of Negation. We got the GG. Hell yeah. The deck's not perfect. It's definitely a little bit awkward, but it is very powerful. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Well, we do not have a creature for this hand. We have Invigorate, Berserk, and a Blazing Shoal to boot, but with no creature here, I think we go ahead and mulligan this one. This is a creature with nothing to do with it. I will go to 5. Yeah, this is fine. With no Blazing Shoal, Progenitus goes back, and then I will just probably send back the mountain. I do not want to get wastelanded off of a forest for invigorate purposes later. Are we dead on turn 1? Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Well, I'm going to let the Thoughtseize resolve. I'm not just going to concede on the spot to this, but there is a very good chance that we are just dead on the spot to something like oops. Oh, it's Entomb instead. Fast Reanimator deck. Actual Factual Grizzlebrand spotted. Shallow Grave. You've got it. I'm not going to complain about something in the overall Tin Fins ballpark. The casual name given to instant speed reanimator. Because of an Adult Swim show named C-Lab 2021. It's a whole thing. Opponent going to 4? Okay, nothing else happening pre-combat. I am taking 7. My opponent could lose 7 more depending on what it is they're trying to do here. The card Children of Corliss may end up giving my opponent all of their life back immediately. That is a basic swamp, though. Alright, we're doing more things. New Entomb. That is Borborygmos Enraged. My opponent has reanimated it, gone to 2, and now they are presumably going to huck a whole bunch of lands at me and kill me. 7, 4, 1, and dead. So our opponent turn 1'd us on the play with Thoughtseize. Notably, their margins were tight. If that die roll goes different, maybe I don't die that turn. All right. Pact of Negation out. Leyline of the Void in. Legolas's Quick Reflexes out. Very Macabre in. Beyond that, I could think about some things like Mindbreak Trap as well against this specific deck, because it's going to have artifact mana and ritual mana in a way that normal Reanimator doesn't. I'm not super expecting to need to protect my creatures. I think I'm going to play a singleton Mindbreak Trap, and then otherwise just keep things that help get my opponent dead. Does this kill my opponent on turn 2? Land, Heartfire Hero, Leyline of Resonance. On turn 2, play Monstrous Rage, which triggers twice. That is going to be +4, +5, +6 on this creature. This kills on turn 2. And now I'm going to say some absurd words. Is killing on turn 2 fast enough? I'm going to hope that it is. And just die sometimes. Leyline, Aiga, Heartfire Hero. Just use your turn to Thoughtseize me. I'll still feel pretty good about the amount of damage I do if I lose Berserk. Basic Swamp. And opponent is passing the turn. We have drawn Progenitus. Thanks for coming out to play Progenitus. I guess this is an instant. Send it. No blocks. Monstrous Rage. Triggers. Copy this. There's 5. There's 7. And Berserk. Trigger. So this is 7 power, up to 14 power. We have gotten the full-on ouch in chat, right? Opponent is casting Spoils of the Vault, and they are opting to kill themselves instead. I respect it, but I am also going to take a look at what you did here. So opponent just gave me the information that they boarded into Show and Tell and Witherbloom Apprentice combo, which is very good information for me to have. So I'm happy to have that. I don't know that that's going to super change my sideboarding plan because I have to respect them juking back into the graveyard stuff when they are on the play. So they might intentionally just have showed me this stuff to kind of mess with my head. So I think I am going to stay in the same sideboarding configuration. I could consider playing a few more copies of Mindbreak Trap when I am on the draw. I think I might do that. Like, go down 2 threats for 2 Mindbreak Traps. I don't know that I get to get the other one in there. Oh no! Do not want to see 3 of a kind of Progenitus in my hand. We'll mulligan that one. This is very awkward because this enters tapped. So I can keep a hand that has a Leyline, a tapped land, 4 threats, nothing to pair with Blazing Shoal. I think I will go to 5. The 5-card hand is not perfect. So this hand has Once Upon a Time for Fairy Macabre, or alternatively, Once Upon a Time for Progenitus. I could mulligan deeper. I think I will. So this has land, Once Upon a Time, Heartfire Hero, Mindbreak Trap. I'll take it. All right, now, is it Heartfire Hero or is it the Scamp? Maybe it's the Scamp. Keep the Scamp. This is not where I want it to be versus my opponent's 7-card hand, obviously. Storm is 1. Storm is 2. Notably, I did not hit a Leyline of the Void in any of those hands. Storm is 3. I will cast Once Upon a Time. I will take Heartfire Hero. There's a Leyline of the Void. I will now cast Mindbreak Trap. We have weathered the storm for now, but there is a Grizzlebrand in the graveyard, and it probably wants to come out. I will fetch. Grab a Taiga. I think I'm going to play the Heartfire Hero immediately. I might just be doing something like playing Invigorate on it for the +1/+1 counter, even if it doesn't combo kill immediately. Fuck. The opponent's at 19, and then 12. Opponent is at 5. That is an unmasked targeting me. I don't think I'm going to cast Invigorate for a +1/+1 counter, as this will give my opponent 3 life, and that 3 life puts them in range of being able to activate Grizzlebrand again. To lose the Invigorate, obviously. Too dangerous alongside Berserk. So I will play out another creature. I don't expect that I am going to win through the active Grizzlebrand, but my deck is capable of a large amount of violence. Alright, Dark Ritual. We're doing something. That is an Entomb. There were a couple of hard Grizzlebrands just discarded. There's an Archon of Cruelty. Yeah. So you're dead. You're dead. My opponent takes 1. Then I am taking 12 in the air plus another 3 from an Archon trigger and losing the Heartfire Hero. I am not winning from that position. GG's. Shame we did not see a Leyline in this game, even when we mulled down to 4. Alright, I am on the play, I am keeping my opening hand, and I am counting on a Once Upon a Time to find me a creature for a turn to kill. I'll pull out the chat for this one. Yo, big fan. Oh no. I don't know what you're talking about. We'll give him a smiley face in chat. Alright, Once Upon a Time for a dude, please. That'll do. Monastery Swift Spear. So, Aiga. Swift Spear. And send it. 19. This is not my preferred threat here, despite the fact that it pushes a damage on turn 1. Eluded Delta. That I like a lot, actually. I don't know if I go for it this turn. Into Fatal Push. I think I go for it next turn with the Scamp. It just feels significantly safer. And hopefully I don't look like an idiot when my opponent just goes Entomb Reanimate. Let's see what they've got. Surveil. Junking a Tameo. Oh, you want a 0/3 blocker? There's a Brainstorm. There is some wicked thunder coming in. Apologies if any of that gets picked up on the mic. Opponent is chilling with an Underground Sea active. This did not shuffle from the Brainstorm, so whatever cards my opponent has, they still have. I will Surveil a Monstrous Rage. Sure. I think I'll take that. Go to Punchies. Declare Munchies. No blocks. Rage on Scamp plus Leyline of Resonance trigger. Ooh, I can change the targets. No, same targets. So this is 6, really 12, 13, 14 damage as of right now. Let's go for it. Trigger. Same targets. Flusterstorm. Flusterstorm's cool here. So that is going to be able to take out both of my things. All right, is Blazing Shoal for 1 lethal? So that will be +2, +3, +4. Sorry, +2. So 1 from Blazing Shoal, 1 from Blazing Shoal, 1 from Prowess. So that is 3 more damage. Yeah, I'm in for that. Yeah. Yeah. So that is a turn 3 kill through Flusterstorm that I opted not to do on turn 2. So, what is most likely for my opponent to be playing if they have Flusterstorm in a main deck flex slot? So, more or less, the most common option recently here is Doomsday. Based on a search of MTG Top 8, it's the only thing in August or since the beginning of July to have main deck Fluster and Underground Sea. All right, let's operate under the assumption that I'm playing against Doomsday and maybe not change my deck at all. And we are playing the game of who gets to punch the other person in the face first. 3 of a kind. Not what I'm looking for. Full house even, honestly. Yeah, this hand looks great. I'm going to keep this. I think I need Once Upon a Time in case my opponent discards my initial threat. I think I will get rid of Monstrous Rage. Open up on this ley line. Opponent's at 19. All right, there is the Thoughtseize. I am going to let that resolve and presumably lose the Scamp. I lost the Scamp. I found the Scamp. I will cast Once Upon a Time here. I do not need Progenitus, so I will take a Taiga. And I'll play a Scamp. This deals a very large amount of damage. So, opponent's got Ponder and a Fetch to clear. So I get what? +8, +16 between its attack and the sacrificing. I'm just good to go. I don't have Trample. That's not the end of the world. I think my opponent has to block or they die. I will go ahead and do this to kill their Tamiyo and to get this through. And then I will just hopefully find some other thing to do using a Surveil land. Opponent can cantrip. Past the turn Doomsday line is so fucking scary for them. Like, I don't even know if they can do it. 19. A new Ponder. The first Ponder did find them something that they liked. So did the second one. Fetch. Surveil land. Swift Spear? So if I Invigorate, my opponent is actually at 22. I get +8, 9, really 18, 19. That's pretty close to dead. I didn't count Prowess there either. Opponent is fetching, and a Hydroblast. You got it. I will send some damage at your face. So I will go ahead and go Swift Spear, send it. I think I just hardcast this next turn and don't give my opponent the life. 16. 4th land drop. Because I would like to Invigorate after they do a Doomsday, if at all possible. The One Ring. Sure. That's scary. I don't have any landfall in this deck. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'll pick up a mountain in case there's something crazy like Harbinger of the Seas. And this, in theory, is lethal next turn. 14. Opponent gets 2 more cards. I know they have things like Hydroblast in their deck that can serve as removal for my stuff. And usually decks that are playing Hydroblast don't just play 1. Thoughtseize is fine. I've lost Monstrous Rage. There is a Tamiyo, another sort of awkward blocker. Tamiyo, One Ring, very good together, obviously. Alright. Send it. I will kill the Tamiyo, making a very large creature in process. And the hope is just I draw any pump spell to finish off my opponent after the One Ring nonsense. And by the way, my read is still that my opponent is Doomsday, despite the One Ring and the Tamiyos and all that stuff that we are seeing here. All right, there's a Fatal Push. Alright. Is it Doomsday time yet? It is not. Is it Doomsday time now? It's Kaito. Sure. That's fine. By fine, I mean I am unhappy. Well, we're not going to cast that one. This one is slipping away. I guess there's a timeline where my opponent kills himself with their own One Ring. Less so now. Opponent did not attack with Tamiyo. Junking another Kaito. There's a Brainstorm to flip the Tamiyo. Yeah, opponent could have had a clue in all of this. Don't think it matters. There's a Baleful Strix. Okay, maybe they are not Doomsday. Maybe they are actually just a blue-black control deck. The Lotus Petal is a little weird, though, and so is the Consider. Regardless, I think I will concede here. I've definitely got some stuff to be worried about on the ground. I think that means I would like a couple copies of Legolas's Quick Reflexes. Maybe swapping those out for some Pact of Negations. A lot of the annoying things my opponent is doing are happening on their turn, not my own. The Goyfs and the Strix and all that. Okay, so how much damage is this on turn 2? On turn 2, I play Slickshot Show Off and deal 0 damage. So maybe I plot it on turn 2. On turn 3, I cast a Berserk, I get +2/+0, trigger, copy it, go from 3 to 6, then from 6 to 12. That's not enough as is. I think I can do better than this. This has no threats. We'll go to 5. On 5, I am keeping this. Blazing Shoal always goes back. And then I imagine I am keeping one of the 2 protection spells. I'm going to keep the split second one. I'll grab Taiga and get in for 1. Assuming this resolves. Storm is something crazy that is going on outside. I have a podcast to record later tonight. I hope it settles down a bit. Fetching. Dark Ritual. And Goyf. You've got it. So I just want to kill that with Quick Reflexes here. Let's Invigorate. You gain some life. Prowess trigger. This is a 6/6 Quick Reflexes on my creature. This is a 7/7. Go to combat. Send in for 7. Trigger. Junk the Goyf. Hit my opponent for 7. It's a shame I did not have access to Berserk here as well. But this might have been what my opponent was going for with their entire hand in keeping. So Brainstorm will do a lot to smooth out other hand options. Fatal Push is fine. I have another creature. I have 2 more creatures even. Now I'm in a good position where most of my draws are actually not bad. And it is just how many scary cards does my opponent draw. And by scary cards, I probably don't mean the Doomsday style stuff. I mean the Strix and the Tamiyo and all that jazz. 2 mana. Yeah. Strix I can trample through relatively easily. So, yeah. Taiga. I'm going to go ahead and cast this. See if it resolves as a starting point. It does. I think I'm just going to send in and trade. My opponent gets the show off instead of the Swift Spear if I attack, but I think I want to guarantee the points of damage. I don't need much to win this game. I just want to end this as quickly as possible before my opponent gets to the One Ring or a lethal Doomsday pile. It is a new Dark Ritual, and another Dark Ritual, and a Doomsday. My gut was indeed correct. So my opponent is at 5 life. We'll see if they can win or otherwise stabilize the board this turn. That is 3 life. That is 2 cards in library. That is the second blue mana for a Thassa's Oracle. And that'll do. My opponent will take this match. Looks like the One Ring was a singleton too. Very unfortunate for me that they drew that when I'm playing this sort of aggro combo deck. GG's. Yeah, opponent says awesome games. Agreed. Those were great. Okay, so opening hand has Heartfire Hero. Once upon a time to look for a different threat, but no pump spell to pair with Berserk. I think I ship this. This is a turn 2 kill. So Wooded Foothills for Taiga, Swift Spear, attack for 1. Next turn, Blazing Shoal, pitch Progenitus, cast Berserk with Pact of Negation backup. Don't wasteland me on turn 1. Fetch. Oh, that one was huge. Swift Spear. Punchies. Punchies for 1. Opponent is at 19. Witch Blessed Meadow tapped. That does not bode well for my opponent. Go to combat. Declare attackers. Attack. No blocks. Blazing Shoal. Pitching Progenitus. Prowess trigger. 12. Prowess trigger. 13. Do 26 damage. Backed by Pact of Negation. Heyo! Opponent is probably playing something in the Death and Taxes ballpark, and by that I mean Death and Taxes, Initiative, Hate Bears, something of that general nature. Witch Enchanter, Witch Blessed Meadow is not a particularly common card. So I can be thinking about Legolas's Quick Reflexes as a way to protect my stuff versus Source of Plowshares, Path to Exile, Solitude sort of removal. Do I want to do that over Pact? Sure. This has no threat. I will ship this one accordingly. This does not have pump spells, but I have 2 creatures and protection. I'm going to say that this is fine. I will keep this and pitch 1 land and hope that we kind of draw out of this a little bit. All right, initiative. The sword's going under there. That is a premium card in my estimation. Okay, that's fair. That's not the end of the world, but that will be very, very good against what I am doing. I mean, this is why swords went under there. A new Lotus Petal and an Archon. Sure. I'll do a tapped land here. Do not want the Scamp in the face of Chalice. You've got it. I will do a Taiga and pass the turn. I don't want to see top-decked initiative creature here. That just accelerates the clock quite a bit. Opponent is playing that land immediately and hitting me for 2. I will regular cast this. I can contest the initiative here, which is worth something. Opponent goes to 19. We'll get a mountain. But I'm actually going to do a tapped Wooded Foothills here and get that out of the way. I have 4 spells that basically are used for my prowess here. I think my opponent is just racing what I'm doing very easily. Opponent going for the counters on Archon. So if I take 8 in combat plus trap, I am dead. If I cast a spell that gets countered, I don't actually trade with Archon. I think my opponent gets this one. And I can decide whether or not I want to attempt to address Chalice of the Void. My opponent is presumably going to have Solitude, which makes Pact of Negation nice. Yeah, I probably need to address Chalice. I'll go down a couple Legolas's Quick Reflexes. Okay, this opening hand does not cast the Scamp. We will mulligan this. Yikes. I think I keep it, and I'm unhappy. I need this to hit a red land. So, let's hit our red land. Alright, I did hit the red land. Let's do this in the way that takes an extra land out of the deck. I'll go to 19, get the Taiga. I think I'm going to put the Scamp into play specifically since I have Berserk. No covered plains. Notably, this is a dies, not leaves play. It's an Invigorate. Swift Spear. Go to combat. Send in. Yeah. Up to 5 power. Up to 10 power. I think I am willing to go for this. So, Prowess. Berserk. I don't want to see the swords here, but I think I am willing to put my opponent to the test. It is the swords. My opponent returns to 20 life here. Opponent can now play their larger creatures, and I am not in great shape. That's not one of the scarier creatures, but it does have Vigilance, which is annoying. I think you ignore Force of Vigor and you name something like Berserk there. This doesn't give any buffs, does it? No. I need to combine this with something else to take this off the table. I'll pass the turn here. We'd like to find something like the Monstrous Rage. Opponent is going to sacrifice a land here. They're not even using this for mana this turn. That's annoying. Now I'm going to take 3 in combat damage here, and I don't have a lot to say about it. Heartfire Hero is my draw. Not anything overly impressive as of right now. I think if my opponent can play one more creature, I am dead. I think that will be the point where the board is just too gummed up and my opponent's clock is too aggressive for me to keep up. And Archon. Yeah, I think that's the point where my opponent has got this. I'll take 6. I'll take one more draw step and see if something appears to change. I can put a +1/+1 counter on Heartfire Hero by targeting it with Legolas's Quick Reflexes. Attack in, it's only 2 damage on the trigger for this, so it's not actually clearing any of those. Yep, I think this is the point where my opponent has just got this. My cards did not line up well here. GG's. Okay, so I Once Upon a Time and hit Taiga. I play Scamp on 1 and have everything in the world I possibly need to kill on turn 2. So I guess we keep, and it's just really awkward if I don't find a Taiga. Opponent going to 5 cards. Opponent says they just finished my video for today. Excellent. Once Upon a Time. Never didn't have it. I was not worried at all. I would like to make the numbers go up. Urza's Saga. Nice. Go to combat. Declare attackers. No blockers. Blazing Shoal. Target this. Pitch Progenitus. This is already just lethal. So I will then sacrifice that. I will not proliferate. And my opponent is dead. And I could have done so much more damage, but I didn't want to show my opponent any more cards. They said, hype. Yup. Understood. Yep. So my opponent is playing an Urza Saga deck. I will play 4x Force of Vigor. I will sub those in for Pact of Negation, and we'll call that that. I could consider Mindbreak Trap, but I think having seen only Urza Saga, that might be a bit much. Opponent says, honestly, not even mad. Yeah, no, I get it. This opening hand seems fine. I start with the Leyline, play a Heartfire Hero, and then probably do Invigorate Crimes. Yeah. Urza's Workshop, Manifold Key. That's fine. Slick Shot Show Off. Get Taiga and do Heartfire Hero. I have Force of Vigor pitching Progenitus as soon as it seems like a good idea to do that. Now? Now's fine. Get out of there. I just don't want this to make mana. Opponent says, you're starting to make me feel like I'm in standard. Yep. Monastery Swift Spear. Sure. Let's do that. Send in. I think I'm going to hold this for a turn, because maybe I get extra damage off of Slick Shot Show Off too. My goal by getting rid of Urza's Saga was attempting to bottleneck my opponent on mana, which did not succeed. This is a one-time use Grim Monolith. There is a Tezzeret Cruel Captain. Now it is a multi-use Grim Monolith. Yep. 3 mana, 4 mana, the One Ring. Seems good. Tezzeret at 5 loyalty. Now my opponent has protection from everything, but their Tezzeret does not. Alright, cool. So if I cast this Invigorate, Tezzeret is very, very easily dead. I think that means I cast the Heartfire Hero this turn. Go to combat. Player attackers. Attack Tezzeret. No blocks. Invigorate. A Heartfire Hero. This is an opponent that is not targeted. So actually, I can change this target to a different Heartfire Hero to get a +1/+1 counter. So this is still going to easily kill the Tezzeret. And then I will pass the turn with 5 power in play, plus potentially this. My opponent does have an active One Ring. They also have Ancient Tomb. Urza's Workshop enabled by Planar Nexus now. Ate that Manifold Key for me. That's bad in either one of those directions. Yep. Lotus Petal. Oof. That next turn of protection is so clutch for my opponent. So I will fetch. I'll surveil. I need pump spells now. I mean, that's fine. I don't get to deal damage with this turn. Does plotting this matter versus just playing it? Probably not. I'll pass the turn here. I have a ton of damage spread over a lot of different bodies, assuming that Monstrous Rage resolves, or is still in hand, or is castable, or whatever. But my opponent has the ability to draw just so many cards here, and they have a ton of mana. 10 cards in hand, plus presumably a little bit more artifact mana in hand. That is a Karn. I don't think that's that scary. Because a lot of times it's like Karn and Snaring Bridge that beats decks that look like mine, but my opponent has 8 cards in hand. Untapping some lands. Karn minus. Paradox Engine is scary, though. That probably kills me. I will, I think, wait this one out, as I do just have lethal on board if my opponent lets me have a turn. I don't think I should get a turn, but I'm going to fast forward to their relevant plays now, because they're probably going to play a lot of cards. Blaring Fleshraker, first bad thing. Alright, there's a Kozilek's command for X equals 17 shortly thereafter. That will absolutely kill me on the spot. GG's. Opponent had 2 turns of fog with the One Ring, and that's what they needed. So now the only question is, do I want to think about something like Mindbreak Trap? It's fine. I think it's less consistent than I would like. I think I'm just going to try to Goldfish my opponent. This is another one of those hands where I have to hit a land off Once Upon a Time. I lost with a hand that looked kind of similar to this, right? Or did I win that one? No, I won that one, I think. I think I'm going to try to keep it. The Leyline just ramps up my damage so much. All right, Woodfoot Hills. So land, fetch, Taiga, Swift Spear, get in there. 19. Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, Lotus Petal. Mox Opal is on. 3 mana for Basalt Monolith. You've got it. That is a Tezzeret. Planar Nexus. Attempt to untap. And at that point, I think I Force of Vigor, pitching the other Force of Vigor, and just don't let my opponent have unchecked Basalt Monolith. Try to bottleneck them on mana. Double Berserk. I imagine that this will directly kill my opponent at some point. I think I just attack Tezzeret so my opponent can't minus and keep Tezzeret without playing another artifact first. Yeah, opponent is passing the turn there. So I think I have a lot of things that lead to my opponent being dead. Alright, cool, they're passing again. Heartfire Hero is fine. And at Tezzeret one more time. Tezzeret at 1. Play Heartfire Hero, pass turn. There is a Manifold Key. That's going to bump Tezzeret's loyalty up by 1. Commercial District. Let's surveil. Do not want Progenitus. Put that into my graveyard. It is not in my graveyard anymore. Okay, so I cast Berserk. Heartfire Hero is a 2/2, doubled to 4/4, doubled to 8/8. I'll just kill with double Berserk next turn. Let's just gun down Tezzeret here. Ooh, there's an Urza's Tower. Opponent could play the One Ring here. They did not. So my issue is that Kozilek's command can be a thing here. I think I don't go for lethal this turn. So I will go ahead and just send in with everybody. Okay, yeah, this is why I didn't go all in here. My opponent gets some spawns. See how conservative they're going to be with their life total. Very. Alright, that's fine. I will present lethal again next turn. We are just looking to dodge the One Ring. And my opponent used Kozilek's command entirely in a defensive fashion, so they did not get new cards off of that. Another Urza's Tower. This is a ton of mana. That's a Karn. Karn Tutors. Or Ensnaring Bridge. My opponent has 2 cards in hand, so that is not a problem. And now they are tapped out. They are very dead. Attack face. No blocks. Invigorate on Heartfire Hero. You may gain some life. Triggers. So we copy Invigorate. I get a counter. I do this. I Invigorate. This is 10 already. I will now Berserk here. Same targets. That is now 20. That is now 40. And you know what? Last game, we go harder. Same targets. So there's 80. There's 160, putting my opponent to negative 142. Opponent on the way out says, sweet deck. You're not wrong. This was really cool. All right, let's go ahead and bring this one to a close. Overall thoughts on the deck list. This is really sweet. This is a very fast sort of aggro combo deck, however exactly you want to group it. It is capable of some absolutely disgusting things. And we were more or less as fast as the decks that we were playing against. I'm not sure how much I like the monocolored lands. I understand wanting to have forest and mountain to be more resilient to wasteland. I think I might rather just have taiga and one more fetch land instead. I think it's very important to be able to play a red 1-drop and have Invigorate available on turn 2 off a single land, or excuse me, have Berserk available on turn 2 off a single land. So I think if I was going to play this more, that is the first change that I would be making. Otherwise, honestly, sideboard felt pretty good. We don't want to sideboard very much with this deck. Like, we are very much all in on our primary plan, so we're often kind of tweaking 4-ish cards, often the Pact of Negations, Legolas's Quick Reflexes being the flex slots there. But I like this a lot. This was a lot of fun. I don't know how consistent this is by Legacy standards when Thoughtseizes swords and Bowmasters and every form of removal more or less interacts with this deck. This is fast, but it's not something like Doomsday or Oops All Spells where it just ignores a ton of stuff that's going on in the format and just wins through it anyway. Like, blockers matter, discard matters, removal matters, wasteland matters. I think you can interact with this deck on a ton of axes. So I'm giving this thumbs up. This was very fun to play. I don't know how competitive it is at the end of the day, but I can absolutely see this stealing wins left and right. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, folks. I hope you enjoyed. See ya!